Chapter 1. The couple everyone envied. At Beicheng University, there was a couple everyone knew. Not because they were loud, not because they constantly posted their love online, but because they were quietly perfect. Whenever students passed the library at night, they would often see Gu Chen sitting by the window with his laptop, while Li Yuhan studied beside him. Sometimes she would fall asleep on the table. Without a word, Gu Chen would remove his coat and gently place it over her shoulders. Small actions. But everyone noticed. Gu Chen was famous on campus. Tall, handsome, top of the finance department, and already working with his family's company. Many girls tried to approach him, but he always had only one answer. My girlfriend wouldn't like that. That girlfriend was Li Yuhan. Unlike him, she wasn't popular. Quiet. Gentle. Almost invisible among the crowd. But whenever looked at her, his eyes softened in a way he never showed anyone else. 3 years together without drama. Without jealousy. If they had problems, they talked. If they misunderstood something, they explained. Their love was calm, steady. And one night while walking across campus, Gu Chen suddenly stopped. Yes, he smiled slightly. When we graduate, let's get married. The streetlight reflected in his eyes. Li Yuhan's heart trembled. She believed every word he said. She never imagined that one day he wouldn't remember saying it. Chapter 2. Quiet happiness. Their days passed peacefully. Simple routines. Morning classes. Lunch together. Late studying. Sometimes Gu Chen would drive them to a quiet cafe near campus. Li Yuhan liked sitting by the window. Gu Chen liked watching her. "You're staring again," she said shyly one afternoon. Gu Chen leaned back in his chair. "I'm just thinking." "About what?" "About lucky I am." Li Yuhan laughed softly. "You say that every week, and it's still true every week." He reached across the table and held her hand. His voice became serious. "After graduation, I'll officially join my family company." Li Yuhan nodded. And then, I'll marry you." Her cheeks turned red. "You're very confident." Gu Chen smirked. "Of course, you've already been mine for 3 years." She rolled her eyes but didn't pull her hand away. At that moment, everything in the world felt certain. Their future seemed clear. But sometimes, the future changes without warning. Chapter 3. The Jealous Observer. 2. A luxury car stopped in front of Beicheng University. A woman stepped out. Beautiful. Her name was Su Ruan. She had just returned from studying abroad. Gu Chen's childhood friend. Someone who had secretly loved him for years. When she arrived at the campus cafe to meet him, she expected the same Gu Chen she remembered. Cold. Uninterested in women. But what she saw shocked her. Gu Chen was sitting by the window. Across from sat a girl. A quiet girl with long black hair. And Gu Chen was smiling. Su Ruan froze. In all the years she had known him, she had never seen that expression. Her voice was calm when she finally walked inside. Gu Chen looked up. "Oh, you're back." Then he naturally introduced them. "Yuhan, this is Su Ruan, my childhood friend." Su Ruan smiled politely, but she looked at Li Yuhan. Something cold flashed inside her eyes. "So you're Gu Chen's girlfriend." Her smile remained perfect, but inside her heart, jealousy had already begun to grow. Chapter 4. Seeds of Malice. Su Ruan started appearing everywhere. At first, it looked harmless. Lunch invitations, study group suggestions, casual hangouts. "Gu Chen and I grew up together," she would say with a gentle smile. Li Yuhan didn't think too much about it, but sometimes, the way Su Ruan looked at Gu Chen felt strange, like someone protecting something that belonged to them. One afternoon, when Gu Chen stepped away to answer a phone call, Su Ruan suddenly spoke. "You and Gu Chen have been together 3 years?" Li Yuhan nodded. "Yes." Su Ruan tilted her head slightly. "That's impressive." Her tone sounded friendly, but the next sentence carried hidden poison. Girls usually can't keep his attention that long. Li Yuhan was slightly confused. "What do you mean?" Su Ruan only smiled. "Nothing." But from that day onward, small disturbances began appearing in their relationship. Subtle, almost invisible, but enough to slowly shake the calm balance they once had. Chapter 5. The Accident. It was raining that night. Gu Chen had just finished a company meeting downtown. Before leaving the building, he checked his phone. A message from Li Yuhan. "Drive safely." He smiled slightly. Then he replied, "Wait for me tomorrow. I'll take you to breakfast." The roads were slippery. Traffic lights reflected through the rain. Gu Chen drove calmly. Until a truck lost control at the intersection. Everything happened in seconds. The screech of brakes. A violent crash. Glass shattered. Metal stood. Chapter 6. The Forgotten Years. When Ken opened his eyes again. White ceiling. Hospital smell. Machines beeping softly beside him. His parents were standing near the bed. Relief filled their faces. The doctor soon arrived. After several tests, the diagnosis came: retrograde amnesia. Gu Chen had lost memories from the past 3 years. His parents exchanged a complicated look. 3 years ago, that was before Li Yuhan appeared in his life, which meant the girl he loved most had been completely erased. Chapter 7. Stranger in his life. When Li Yuhan heard the news, she rushed to the hospital. Her hands trembled as she pushed open the door. Gu Chen was sitting on the hospital bed, alive, awake. Her eyes immediately filled with tears. "Chen." She stepped forward and held his hand. "I was so worried." But Gu Chen looked at her with confusion. Polite confusion. Like looking at someone he had never met. "Miss." His voice was calm. "Are you?" The words felt like thunder exploding in her mind. Li Yuhan froze. Her lips trembled. I'm Li Yuhan." She forced a small smile. "Your girlfriend." Silence filled the room. Gu Chen frowned slightly. "I'm sorry, but I don't have a girlfriend." Chapter 8. A Heart Shattered. The doctor explained everything carefully. 3 years of memory gone. Li Yuhan tried to stay strong. She brought photos, messages, every proof of their love. "This was our first trip. This is your birthday. You bought me this necklace." Gu Chen looked at everything quietly, but his expression remained distant. Finally, he spoke gently. "I'm sorry." His tone was polite, almost apologetic. "But I really don't remember any of this." Each word felt like a knife cutting slowly into her heart. For him, those memories were gone. But for her, they were still everything. Standing beside the hospital bed, Li Yuhan suddenly realized something terrifying. The man she loved most in the world had become a complete stranger, and she had no idea how to bring him back. Chapter 9. Trying to remember. Li Yuhan refused to give up. The next day, she returned to the hospital with a small box filled with memories. Screenshots of messages. 3 years of love carefully saved on her phone. She sat beside Gu Chen's bed and showed him a picture. It was taken during winter. Snow covered the campus, and Gu Chen stood behind her, wrapping a scarf around her neck while she laughed. "You remember this day?" she asked softly. Gu Chen looked at the photo carefully, his brows slightly furrowed as if trying to recall something. But after a moment, he shook his head. "I'm sorry." She forced a smile. "It's okay. We have many more memories." She opened another video. In it, Gu Chen was holding a cake and singing badly while Li Yuhan laughed uncontrollably. The room was full of warmth. But when the video ended, Gu Chen's expression remained calm. "I really wish I could remember," he said. "But watching this feels like watching someone else's life." Li Yuhan lowered her phone slowly. Her heart felt heavier with every attempt. Chapter 10. The Villainess Appears. From that day on, someone else began appearing frequently in the hospital room. Su Ruan. She arrived every morning with fresh flowers and breakfast. Sometimes she helped the nurses adjust Gu Chen's pillows. Sometimes she brought him documents from the company. Her presence quickly became natural. "Gu Chen and I grew up together," she often said. "Of course I should take care of him." Compared to her confident elegance, Li Yuhan suddenly seemed awkward and out of place. One afternoon, Su Ruan watched quietly as Li Yuhan tried once again to show Gu Chen their memories. A faint smile appeared on her lips, but it was not a kind smile. It was the smile of someone slowly planning something cruel. Chapter 11. Twisted Lies. One evening, Li Yuhan had just left the hospital. Su Ruan remained behind. She poured a glass of water for Gu Chen and spoke casually. "That girl, Li Yuhan." Gu Chen looked up. "Yes." Su Ruan sighed softly. "I didn't want to say anything at first, but since you've lost your memory, I think you should know." Gu Chen frowned slightly. "Know what?" Su Ruan hesitated as if struggling with the decision. Then she said quietly, "She started chasing you after finding out your family owns the Gu Group." The room became silent. She was very persistent, Su Ruan continued. At first you rejected her many times, but eventually you got tired and agreed to date her. Gu Chen's expression slowly darkened. Su Ruan added softly, I guess she's afraid of losing you now. Chapter 12. Suspicion. After that conversation, Gu Chen started looking at Li Yuhan differently. Before, he simply felt distant from her. Something else appeared in his eyes. Suspicion. The next time she came to visit him, she was smiling nervously. I brought the notebook you always used. She handed him a worn black notebook. You wrote many things about us in here. Gu Chen took it silently, but instead of opening it, he asked calmly, why are you trying so hard? Li Yuhan blinked. Even if we dated before, I've already forgotten. His voice was cold. So why do you keep insisting? Her fingers tightened. Because you're important to me. Gu Chen said nothing, but the doubt in his eyes grew deeper. Chapter 13. Desperate Proof. Li Yuhan began bringing more proof. The watch he once bought her. The bracelet they chose together. The birthday letter he wrote 3 years ago. Every item carried a memory. But instead of warming Gu Chen's heart, they only made him uncomfortable. Finally, he rubbed his forehead. Miss Li. She froze at the formal address. You're bringing too many things. His voice sounded irritated now. If you want money, just say it directly. The words felt like a slap. Li Yuhan stared at him in disbelief. I'm not here for money. Gu Chen didn't reply. His silence hurt even more. Chapter 14. Public Humiliation. A week later, Li Yuhan visited the hospital again. But this time, the room was full of visitors. Several of Gu Chen's friends from university. Su Ruan was also there. As soon as Li Yuhan entered, the conversation suddenly stopped. Su Ruan smiled sweetly. Oh, you're here again. Her voice was loud enough for everyone to hear. You're really persistent. Some students exchanged awkward looks. Su Ruan continued with fake concern. Gu Chen already said he doesn't remember you, so why forcing him? The room became silent. All eyes on Li Yuhan. Her face turned pale. She looked Gu Chen, waiting, hoping he would say something, anything. But he simply looked away. He didn't defend her. He didn't deny Su Ruan's words. That silence was worse than humiliation. Chapter 15. The Cold Words. After everyone left, the room became quiet again. Li Yuhan stood beside the bed, her hands trembling. Do you also think I'm lying? Gu Chen didn't answer immediately. Finally, he sighed. Please stop. The words were simple, but they carried cold rejection. You're making things complicated. Her eyes filled with tears. But we loved each other for 3 years. Gu Chen looked directly at her. His voice became firm. Please stop pretending we were lovers. The final sentence destroyed the last piece of hope in her heart. Chapter 16. The Ring. The next day, Li Yuhan came again. This time she brought something small, a ring box. Inside were 2 silver rings. Simple. Couple rings, she whispered. You bought them on our 2nd anniversary. She held out her hand. The ring was still there. Gu Chen stared at it for a long moment. Then, slowly, he removed the ring from his own finger. The same. He placed it on the table. I never gave this to you. His tone was completely emotionless. Li Yuhan felt her chest tighten as if someone had crushed her heart. Chapter 17. Breaking Down. That night, Li Yuhan sat alone outside the hospital. Rain fell quietly. The same cold rain from the night of the accident. She held the ring box tightly in her hand. Her shoulders trembled, but she tried to keep her voice silent, because crying loudly would only make the pain feel more real. 3 years of memories. 3 years of love. All. At that moment, she finally realized something terrifying. Even if she kept trying, she might never get him back. Chapter 18. Emotional Exhaustion. Days passed. Li Yuhan continued visiting him, but she stopped bringing photos, stopped explaining memories, stopped trying so desperately. Her voice became quieter, her smile weaker. The love she once held so tightly was slowly turning into silent despair. Sometimes she stood outside the hospital door for several minutes before entering, because she knew that once she stepped inside, she would once again face a man who looked at her like a stranger, and every time he did, her heart broke all over again. Chapter 19. Villainous Victory. After the incident with the ring, Li Yuhan stopped trying to explain their past. But Su Ruan did not stop. In fact, this was exactly what she wanted. Every day she stayed by Gu Chen's side. She brought him company reports, helped him review documents, and slowly rebuilt the trust he once had in her. Sometimes she mentioned Li Yuhan casually. That came again today. She waited outside for an hour. Her voice always sounded concerned, but the meaning behind her words was clear. She refuses to give up. Gu Chen's patience slowly faded. In his eyes, Li Yuhan was no longer a stranger. She was becoming someone troublesome, someone who refused to leave his life alone. Watching this change, Su Ruan felt quiet satisfaction growing inside her. Everything was going exactly as she planned. Chapter 20. The Fake Evidence. A week later, Su Ruan walked into the hospital room holding her phone. Her expression looked troubled. Gu Chen, I don't know if I should show you this. Gu Chen glanced at her. What is it? Su Ruan hesitated, then handed him the phone. On the screen were screenshots of messages. Messages that looked like they came from Li Yuhan. If I stay with Gu Chen, my life will be set. His family is so rich. 3 years of pretending to love him is worth it. Gu Chen's expression darkened as he read the messages. They might be fake, Su Ruan said softly, but I thought you should see them. She lowered her eyes like someone reluctant to reveal the truth. But, in reality, she had created every message herself. Chapter 21. The Confrontation. That afternoon, Li Yuhan came to the hospital again. She brought homemade soup, something she used to cook for Gu Chen when he stayed up late studying. But as soon as she entered the room, she felt something was wrong. Gu Chen's face was cold, colder ever before. He threw his phone onto the table. Li Yuhan picked it up. Her hands trembled as she read the messages. I never sent these. Her voice was shaky. Gu Chen laughed bitterly. You expect me to believe that? Li Yuhan looked at him desperately. I swear, I didn't write them. But the trust between them had already shattered. Chapter 22. The Worst Words. Gu Chen stood up slowly. His gaze was filled with anger. So this is why you keep chasing me? Li Yuhan shook her head immediately. No. You want money. The accusation threw her like a blade. That's not true. But Gu Chen's voice only grew colder. I finally understand now. His next sentence destroyed everything. I regret ever knowing you. For a moment, Li Yuhan felt like the world stopped moving. Chapter 23. Heart completely broken. She didn't cry. She didn't shout. She simply stood there silently, because she finally understood something. It didn't matter how much she loved him. It didn't matter how many memories they shared. Without trust, love meant nothing. Her voice was barely audible when she spoke. If that's what you believe. For a moment. Then I won't bother you anymore. Gu Chen didn't stop her. He only looked away. Chapter 24. The Final Visit. 3 days later, Li Yuhan returned one last time. But she didn't go inside the hospital room. Instead, she stood quietly in the hallway. Through the glass window, she could see Gu Chen sitting on the bed reviewing documents. Su Ruan sat beside him. They looked comfortable together, like a perfect match. Li Yuhan watched silently for a long time. Then she whispered softly, Goodbye. The word disappeared into the empty corridor. Chapter 25. The Goodbye Letter. Before leaving, Li Yuhan stopped by the nurse station. She handed a sealed envelope to one of the nurses. Please give this to Gu Chen later. The nurse nodded. Is it? Li Yuhan smiled faintly. I forgot to say. Inside the letter, only a few sentences were written. Gu Chen, I stopped trying because loving you shouldn't make you hate me. You got our memories. But I hope one day you will still have a happy life. Chapter 26. Leaving the country. 2 days later, Li Yuhan stood inside the airport. Her parents waited beside her. The flight announcement echoed through the terminal. She took one last look at the city she had lived in for years. The city where she met Gu Chen. The city where she fell in love. And the city broke. Then she turned around and walked toward the departure gate without looking back. Chapter 27. The Empty Campus. Life slowly returned to normal. Gu Chen was discharged from the hospital. He returned to Beicheng University and resumed his work at the company. The campus looked the same as always. Students laughing. Couples walking together. But sometimes, when Gu Chen passed the library window at night, something felt strangely empty. Like someone who used to sit there was missing. He couldn't explain the feeling, so he ignored it. Chapter 28. Villainous Celebration. One evening, Su Ruan met Gu Chen for dinner. She watched him quietly while sipping her wine. Li Yuhan hasn't appeared recently, she said casually. Gu Chen nodded. Good. Su Ruan smiled. Inside her heart, satisfaction bloomed. The obstacle was finally gone. The girl who once stood beside Gu Chen for 3 years had disappeared completely, and there was no one left to stop her. She believed she had finally won, but she didn't know something important. Have a way of returning when you least expect them. Chapter 29, The First Flashback. One evening, Gu Chen was walking through the university campus alone. The sunset painted the sky orange, and the familiar paths looked exactly the same as before. As he passed the small cafe near the library, something strange happened. A sudden image flashed through his mind. A girl sitting by the window. Long black hair, a soft smile. She was holding a cup of coffee while laughing quietly. The image disappeared as quickly as it came. Gu Chen stopped walking. His hand slowly touched his chest. His heart was beating faster than usual. Why? He didn't understand. But the girl in the memory felt painfully familiar, and, realizing it, a name escaped his lips. Chapter 30. Strange Pain. After that day, the strange feeling continued. Sometimes when someone mentioned Li Yuhan's name on campus, his chest tightened suddenly. Once, he overheard two students talking. I heard Li Yuhan went abroad. Yeah, she used to date Gu Chen. Gu Chen froze when he heard that. A sharp pain spread through his head. Fragments of images flashed briefly. A rainy night. A warm hand holding his. A girl smiling beneath the streetlights. He pressed his fingers against his temple. The pain disappeared quickly, but the emptiness it left behind was unsettling. Chapter 31. The truth starts breaking through. That night, Gu Chen sat alone in his apartment. He opened his phone absent-mindedly. While scrolling through his settings, he noticed something. A notification. Cloud backup restored. Curious, he opened his photo gallery. Hundreds of photos appeared. Photos he had never seen before. In the first picture, he stood beside Li Yuhan, holding her shoulders while she smiled brightly at the camera. His breathing slowed. He continued scrolling. Another photo. And birthday celebrations. Study sends. 3 years of memories carefully captured in pictures. And in every single photo, the way he looked at her was unmistakable. Warm. Gentle. Completely in love. Gu Chen's hands began to shake. Chapter 32. Everything returns. A powerful headache exploded in his mind. Memories flooded back like a broken dam. Their first meeting in the library. The awkward confession. The night walks across campus. Her shot after. The way she would always remind him to drive safely. 3 entire years of love. Every promise. Every moment. Every memory came crashing back at once. Gu Chen collapsed onto the floor, breathing heavily. His voice trembled. For the first time since the accident, he remembered everything. Chapter 33. Crushing realization. But the memories didn't stop there. New images followed. The hospital room. Li Yuhan standing beside his bed. Her hopeful smile. Her trembling hands holding their photos. Then, his own cold voice. Please stop pretending we were lovers. Another memory. The ring falling onto the table. I never gave this to you. And finally, the cruelest sentence of all. I regret ever knowing you. Gu Chen's face turned pale. His chest tightened painfully. Those words. He had said them himself, to the girl who loved him most. His voice, for the first time in years. Gu Chen felt something close to panic. Chapter 34. The Truth of Villainous. The next morning, Gu Chen rushed back to the hospital. He found the nurse who once took care of him. Do you remember a girl named Li Yuhan? The nurse immediately nodded. Of course, she visited you every day. Gu Chen's heart sank. Did she leave anything behind? The nurse thought for a moment. Oh, there was a letter. She returned with a sealed envelope. Gu Chen opened it with trembling hands. Inside were the simple words Li Yuhan had written before leaving. I stopped trying because loving you shouldn't make you hate me. His blurred. At that moment, the nurse suddenly added something else. Poor girl. Gu Chen looked up. Mean. The nurse frowned slightly. I remember that other woman who often stayed with you, Su Ruan. She once told us Li Yuhan was a gold digger. But the girl never looked like that. Gu Chen froze. The pieces of the puzzle suddenly connected. The fake messages, the accusations, the manipulation. Everything pointed to one person, Su Ruan. His fists slowly clenched, and for the first time since regaining his memories, a terrifying regret began to consume him, because now he understood the truth. The girl he pushed away was the one who loved him the most, and the girl he trusted had destroyed everything. Chapter 35. Desperate Search. The moment Gu Chen realized the truth, he left the hospital immediately. The night air was cold, but his mind was burning with panic. He drove straight to Beicheng University. The library, the cafe, the park bench where they used to sit together. Every place held memories of Li Yuhan, but she was nowhere. Finally, he found one of her old classmates. "Where is Li Yuhan?" he asked urgently. The girl looked surprised. "No?" Gu Chen's heart tightened. "No what?" "She left 3 years ago." The words felt like a hammer striking his chest. The same 3 years he had forgotten. The same 3 years he had pushed her away. Chapter 36. The letter. Back in his apartment, Gu Chen opened the letter again. The simple handwriting blurred through his tears. "I stopped trying because loving you shouldn't make you hate me." His fingers trembled. He remembered everything now. How patiently she had tried to help him remember. How gently she endured his coldness. And how cruelly he rejected her. He whispered into the empty room, "Yuhan, I'm sorry. But apologies meant nothing when the person who needed to hear them was gone." Chapter 37. Collapse. Gu Chen searched everywhere. Friends. Her professors. But every answer was the same. She moved abroad. No one knows exactly where. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. For the first time in his life, Gu Chen completely helpless. One night, he returned to the campus cafe. The same seat by the window. The same quiet atmosphere, but the chair across from him was empty. He lowered his head, and for the first time in years, Gu Chen cried. Chapter 38. The life she built without him. 5 passed. Life moved forward. Li Yuhan now lived in another country. She had built a peaceful life, a stable job. She rarely thought about Beicheng anymore. Sometimes memories appeared unexpectedly. A rainy night. A boy promising marriage under the streetlights, but faded. Time had slowly healed the wounds. And the girl who once loved Gu Chen with everything she had learned to live without him. Chapter 39. The Unexpected Encounter. Yuhan was walking through an airport terminal. Her suitcase rolled quietly behind her. Someone, her name, Yuhan. The voice froze her in place. Slowly, she turned around. Standing a few meters away was Gu Chen. He looked older, but his eyes still held the same familiar intensity. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Years of memories filled the silence between them. Finally, Gu Chen stepped forward. "I've been looking for you for 5 years." His voice was hoarse. "I remembered everything." Chapter 40. The Final Regret. Li Yuhan listened quietly. Her expression was calm. Gu Chen continued speaking desperately. "I know everything now. Su Ruan lied. I said terrible things to you." His voice trembled. "But I remember our love now." He looked directly into her eyes. "Can we start again?" The question hung in the cold airport air. Li Yuhan remained silent for a long moment. Then she smiled gently. But the warmth that once existed in her smile was gone. "I'm glad you remembered," she said softly. Gu Chen's heart tightened. "But when you remembered," she picked up her suitcase. "I had already learned how to forget." Gu Chen froze. The words felt heavier than any punishment. Li Yuhan looked at him one last time. There was no hatred in her eyes, only quiet distance. Then she turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd, leaving Gu Chen standing alone in the airport. Because, sometimes, the greatest tragedy in love is not forgetting someone. It's remembering them too late.